Monarto Zoo is known for its African animals, but before zebras and lions roamed the plains, Monarto was home to native animals. Now Monarto zookeepers are working on an ambitious program of feral proofing and revegetation, and they're hoping to return the area to what it was before European settlement.
This is the brush-tailed bettong, also known as the woylie. Woylies once roamed more than 60% of the Australian mainland, but after decades of land clearing and the introduction of feral predators, it is now an endangered species. These zookeepers at Monarto are working on a woylie rescue plan.
They don't really survive well on a grass enclosure or grass paddock. They need a diversity of plant species that promote fruiting and seeding of a variety of plants, and also provision of insects. To have a good insect population, you need a very good plant source as well.
The woylie breeding program is just one part of a much bigger enterprise underway at Monarto Zoo.
I hope this will be a space where we can bring our kids, where they'll be able to actually see a little mammal skitter across the track underneath their feet. And it's something that you just don't get in the conservation parks. You can still see the birds and you can occasionally see a possum and koalas if you're in the right spot, but we just don't see much left anymore in the bush. And you could do a nocturnal walk or camp out here and have little critters, you know, coming up and around your campsite. It'd be an amazing thing to have, so that'd be my dream. Watch out for the prickles.
Bryony Horner is the manager of a conservation program that aims to return large parts of Monarto into mallee scrub and woodland. It's hoped that it will become home to animals such as the woylie that have been long extinct in the area.
Come on, Nara, help me find a eucalypt.
A team of staff and volunteers have been collecting seeds from around Monarto and have created a nursery. These plants will eventually be used to revegetate the land to what it was before European settlement and farming.
It was a combination of mallee and woodland, so it was a bit of a crossover between the really mallee structure that we have around the Murray area and then the woodlands that we have in the Adelaide Hills, and we've got sort of a mix of those two where they're blending. That's the sort of structure that we would have had.
The zoo has received funding from state and federal governments and from private companies to carry out this ambitious project, but is still relying on volunteers to help get the job done.
All right, Grandma's going to plant one for you, Nara.
Today, this group is constructing a fence which will protect the nursery seedlings from being nibbled by rabbits and kangaroos.
Already in the last year and a half had tens of thousands of volunteer hours to get this project established and multiple staff involved in actually making it happen as well. So it's a big project.
While the volunteers are constructing this fence, there is a much bigger feral proofing program afoot. These zoo workers are constructing a 14-kilometre feral proof fence around the entire zoo perimeter.
The fence is designed to keep out rabbits and foxes and cats. Rabbits go in underneath, so we put a mesh skirt on the bottom, and foxes and cats climb over the top. So we put in a mesh to divert them up and make it harder for them, and at the top we've got a couple of electrics. Zap them and send them back the other way.
Once the zoo is feral-proofed and revegetated, it won't be just the woylie that will be reintroduced. The zookeepers are breeding other animals that were once native to the area, such as the mallee fowl and the bush stern curlew. Like the woylie, they need thick undergrowth to survive.
They don't fly over open ground. So having a cleared land is a barrier for them. It's a bigger fence than having an 8-foot high wire fence is. The open ground is what they don't like. So for malleefowl to survive, there needs to be a continuous cover of trees. When their main food sources are seeds, things like acacia seeds, so it needs to have that understory as well to provide the food source.
The zoo says lions and other African animals won't lose out in this program. Monarto Zoo's African focus will remain, alongside native conservation.
The African animals are amazing to see, but this is Australia and we've got so much to show and so much for people to actually connect with, and it makes it more real, and also tourists that come in from overseas can go to Africa to see African animals, whereas here we actually have an amazing suite of species that they don't often get to see anywhere else.
It will be some months before the first animals are released, but for the staff at the zoo, it's the holy grail of zookeeping, being able to release animals into their natural habitat where they can fend for themselves.
It's a real boost for our natives team to see that there's an end point for a lot of the breeding programs that they do. They can actually have their animals out and in habitat, and people can get a chance to see them and enjoy them as well.
Well, it's very exciting. I mean, as a zookeeper, our aim is to look after the animals, to educate the public about those animals, and to ensure that the habitat that those animals are in is the best that they possibly can be. But to be able to release animals back into the wild is the dream of every zookeeper, to be able to reintroduce a species back to the wild. It's perfect.
Leah McLennan reporting there.